with Mrs. Tekla Papandoniou. She's an officer of the Cyprus National Commission for UNESCO. So please let us welcome Mrs. Papandoniou. Thank you. I don't know if it can be here. Yeah, I do have it. Tekla tutun değil.
Good morning, and thank you for the invitation to give you a short presentation about the intangible heritage and the efforts to safeguarding mostly on the part of the culture and the Cyprus National Commission for UNESCO. Cultural heritage encompasses resources from the past in a variety of forms and aspects. These include knowledge and living expressions passed on from one generation to the next, mostly with oral means. This form of heritage, defined by UNESCO as intangible, is particularly fragile and has to face different challenges and threats less evident than those posed to tangible heritage. As you may know, the different domains expressed through intangible heritage are the oral traditions and expressions, performing arts, social practices, ritual and festive events, knowledge and practices concerning nature and the universe, and traditional craftsmanship. Therefore, you see it's a varied form of heritage. The cultural landscape of Cyprus includes a wealth of living traditions and customs that have passed on across generations. They are directly linked to the lives and activities of people here. They provide Cypriots with a sense of identity and continuity with previous and future generations, and link them with the cultures of other people in Europe and the broader Mediterranean. What is unique in this convention is that periods and practices are at the heart of all safeguarding efforts. In fact, living heritage depends on people, and mainly the people who still practice and transmit this knowledge, and all efforts to safeguard this heritage have to pass through them, not to follow a top-down approach. In this presentation, I will try to give a brief overview regarding the measures taken so far for identification and inventorying of our intangible heritage in Cyprus, the challenges posed for the safeguarding, and some promotion and safeguarding activities others than the ones you have already the opportunity to hear through Maria in the morning presentation. Following the ratification of the convention, Cyprus in 2006 has intensified its efforts to safeguard local and regional living heritage. Several governmental institutions and NGOs have contributed to the identification and effective management of intangible heritage within their field of competence. According to the provisions of the convention, each state party shall ensure identification with a view to safeguarding. That means inventorying and identification is not a goal in itself. It has the aim is to safeguard. and shall draw up in a manner geared to its own situation, one or inventory of intangible cultural heritage. So what we did in Cyprus to draw up an inventory, an ICH committee was appointed. ICH means for Intangible Cultural Heritage. And it is composed by members of the Deputy Ministry of Culture, National Commission for UNESCO, and experts on different fields of intangible heritage. So far, we have described 60 elements of this national inventory, and it's still growing. It's updated every year, following an open call to communities, and the applicants are communities themselves. Drawing from this national inventory, 6 elements were proposed for inscription on the international representative list of intangible heritage of humanity. These are the Lefkaralexes, Mediterranean diet, Byzantine chant, and dry stone. Half of them, even more, are multinational nomination. That means that we are trying as a country to encourage collaboration between different, for the safeguarding of the same traditions of different countries. Under the UNESCO convention, there is another list that showcases best practices for the safeguarding of intangible heritage. And last year we have our first inscription from Cyprus, and also from France, Belgium, Italy, and Croatia. It is a shared program for the safeguarding of traditional games and sports. Last year, we submitted another nomination file about library knowledge, skills, and practices. We expect hopefully recommendation by UNESCO at the end of this year. And our National Commission for UNESCO is currently working on the preparation of the file of Kumandaria. It's winemaking tradition in Cyprus. Hopefully, I guess you will have the opportunity to try it these days during your stay in Cyprus. As you see, we try to propose different elements that exactly showcase how diverse is intangible heritage for midwifery, which is connected to the health system and social also aspect of life, to dry stone, which is connected to the nature, to oral traditions such as the chatista, and lace making, which is crafts. The challenges that we face for the safeguarding of intangible heritage are mostly connected to sociocultural changes and the rural to urban areas migration, which means that the communities are, the population in the rural areas is fewer and fewer people, which means that some traditions, unfortunately, are transmitted in a very low rate. Insufficient remuneration for practitioners, especially in the field of practice, might lead to loss of motivation to continue practicing crafts. It is touristification. I'm sorry to say this in a network that is working in the field of tourism, but it's good to know that in some cases, trying to have more and more visitors and tourists visiting and getting to know certain traditions might lead to creating rather folklore versions of some elements, which is altering their true meaning for the people, the local people. Other challenges are the shortage of material and modern materials and industrial products. And of course, in our case, it is a displacement of population after the 1974 Turkish invasion of Cyprus. This was critical for us because many community members and peoples had to leave their birthplace and were spread all over the island. That means they lost the connection between them to transmit certain elements. And we observe with interest that the last years, many refugee communities are trying to inscribe elements and passionately safeguard them because they feel that it is their last resort and last link to their birthplace 50 years after the invasion. And in some cases, there are only 3 or 4 people practicing, for example, a certain craft, weaving or silk, or weaving with silk. And it is touching for me personally to observe this interest and yeah, how they are trying to safeguard it. Acknowledging that the viability of intangible heritage depends to a large degree to the commitment of communities and practitioners to transmit this knowledge to future generations. The Deputy Ministry of Culture provides financial support to activities and programs initiated by communities that have inscribed elements of this national inventory. Other bodies that provide funding, apart from the Deputy Ministry of Tourism, is the Cyprus Manical Service and the Cyprus National Commission for UNESCO. Mostly, we prioritize the community-led activities that aim at research and documentation, awareness raising, and transmission, mostly through workshops and capacity building programs. Activities that foster creativity, for example, the one that you see, the program, the exhibition society, where exhibitions inspired by traditional crafts that through a modern perspective, they created contemporary crafts. And finally, digital documentation, for example, filmmaking about living heritage. I will present briefly some recent activities. Last year, we prepared collaboration with the Deputy Ministry of Culture and Tourism, booklet regarding tangible heritage of Cyprus, the first 30 elements described in the National Inventory Manual. We provide the copies of this publication. Okay, that's right. Yes. Okay. It is available also online in the digital library on our website. And, we also prepared a photo exhibition last year. It has already traveled in different embassies abroad. I think it provides different aspects of intangible heritage, such as people, places, traditions, practices, schools, all the world of living heritage, and also tangible elements that are connected to this. I'm also particularly happy and to have established with the Archaeological and Historical Film Festival of Cyprus. It provides capacity building workshops to students, secondary school, and higher education institutions. So students have the opportunity to produce their own documentary, including for aspects of living heritage, and they are showcased during the festival, and most of them are awarded special awards. So I think this is particularly important because so far more than 600 students have the opportunity to research and produce through hands-on, on-the-spot experiences of archaeological and living heritage traditions. It is worth saying that this year, 2023, marks the 20th anniversary of the UNESCO Convention on Intangible Heritage. So we planned some activities to take place here in Cyprus. The first was the production of the documentary, about 15 minutes, regarding the elements, these elements and the 7 coming, of Cyprus on the representative list of UNESCO. This film will be first screened on Thursday at a special event at the Presidential Palace. We have invited all communities that have inscribed elements to join us and also to celebrate our living heritage in Cyprus and award them with a certificate of inscription, so they will feel that they are part and they are at the heart of safeguarding the efforts. And what is important about this film? Okay, we will upload it in the beginning of July. Maybe you can share the link in 10 days when we will disseminate. But it is important that there is no voiceover. It's only the practitioners speaking. We want their voice to be heard and their feelings to get out to the people. A second activity plan is in collaboration with the Cyprus Security and Defense Academy and the European Security and Defense College. It's an international course on the topic of the protection of intangible heritage in armed conflict and the post-conflict period. As you understand, this is of particular importance for us in Cyprus and in other areas in Europe. This will take place in September in Larnaca, and it is with the support of the National Commission for UNESCO. I want to make a special mention on initiatives of the Cyprus Handicraft Service because they have an important role to play in safeguarding tangible heritage, especially crafts. It is a governmental institution under the ministry, now the Deputy Ministry of Culture. Mainly, their objectives are to encourage small local industries, marketing handicrafts, and training young craftspeople. So two of their initiatives was a partnership between the Cyprus Handicraft Service, the Human Resources Development Authority, and the Cyprus University of Cyprus. They place young unemployed people next to experienced crafts makers for ceramics and embroidery. And they had the opportunity not only to learn the knowledge on how to make these crafts, but also get the necessary skills to set up a small industry and make it sustainable, which is also important if you practice crafts. And the second initiative was the placement of students in technical and vocational education, specializing in fashion. During summer, they have sort of a residency at the service, and they attend the workshops and take place. So it is important to bring them next to the practitioners and get inspired by what they make. During the last year, the Cyprus Handicraft Service produced 6 films about local crafts. They are available in Europeana platform. I think you are familiar with this. So it's open access. You may watch them. They are really beautiful, and the aesthetics of them is extraordinary because they were directed by Larry. He's the editor of Vogue, so he infused the aesthetics of fashion in it. And another initiative was the tourism related to the tourism area. Was the exhibition they prepared last year called Craftland. It took place in one of the most renowned resorts in Cyprus, and contemporary crafts were presented, and people had the opportunity to purchase them there. Yeah. So, okay, just a few thoughts for conclusion from our experience instead of any other conclusion. The notion of heritage inherently includes loss and choices, which memories we choose to keep and which to discard, choices of the stories, the music, the crafts we need to keep for ourselves and our communities because they matter to us personally. In the course of time, inevitably, some cultural expressions are likely to disappear or be significantly modified. to adapt to the contemporary setting. Therefore, some expressions of living heritage may lose what used to be their authentic character, or the meaning they previously had for communities may be altered or maybe different. This, of course, does not mean that we should let communities alone to adapt to change. We need to support them and follow what they feel like doing in their regarding their heritage. And also, intangible heritage is more than a list of elements. It is a reference to our cultural roots. It is a lifestyle transmitted from one generation to the next. It is all those emotions we experience in the sound of a Cypriot melody, or the urge to share a dance with friends and family during ceremony. Um, they need to have the blessing of our parents before our wedding in a ceremonial ritual way here in our country. Or it is aesthetics in the quality of our embroideries. It is a taste and smell of freshly baked bread with halloumi, panilla, and mandaria. So, in this sense, inventory is not a goal in itself. We still need to grasp the intangible behind this living heritage and improve our understanding about what aspects we want to safeguard and how we can achieve this. That's why I'm personally very glad to see that the program prepared for you during these 3 days in Cyprus is very rich and includes lots of experiences of our living expressions and experiences that create emotions. So I wish you to enjoy it as much as we do. Thank you for your attention.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Tekla Papandoniou for her very interesting presentation. So now I will ask Dr. Efthymios Soulakis to come to the podium. His theme is the natural and cultural treasures of the Trulus UNESCO Global Geopark, which we are visiting on our last day. Okay, so you will have a hands-on experience later. ¿Quieres Soulakis el micrófono?
Good morning. I'm from the Trolls UNESCO Geopark. I'm very happy that we are here and give us the opportunity to present the Trolls UNESCO Geopark. And also to show to you the natural and cultural treasures that are scattered in the area of the geopark. The Trolls Geopark is located in the heart of the island of Cyprus, having an extent of 1,147 square kilometers, which constitutes approximately 36% of the total area of the Trolls mountain range and 12% of the total area of Cyprus. In the heart of the area is located the asbestos mine. Within in that mine is the Trolls Geopark Visitor Center. The Trolls Geopark integrated into the European Geopark Network in 2015, also in the Global Geopark Network, and at the same year we have the creation of the later of the International Geoscience and Geopark Program, and since then all the geoparks have been open UNESCO. In the area of the geopark, we have 110 villages with a population of approximately 21,000 people, maintained with their agricultural character, their customs and conditions until today. Also, in the area, there is a unique geological heritage of worldwide interest and rich mining heritage since antiquity. spectacular natural environment with rich flora and many Byzantine and Roman, some of which are historical sites. This is the map, the touristic map of the Troodos UNESCO Global which shows the most significant geological, mining, cultural, and natural elements in the area. Also in the area we have more than 18 nature, 20 evening sites, and 4 camping sites. Also we have many small beautiful museums and environmental centers. So why the Trolls integrated and become UNESCO culture? Of course, base is to have a unique geology. Trolls host one of the most complete well-preserved oceanic crust on Earth, and which is dominating the central part of the island and is the geological backbone of Cyprus. When this oceanic crust created, it created 92 million years ago, when the South Atlantic Ocean began open and thus pushed the African plate, the African plate continents towards the Eurasian plates. That time we have destruction of the Neolithic Ocean and the construction of the Neolithic Ocean, in the depths of which we have the creation of the TOC, Trollos Ocean. Coming when Africa moved north here, we have in between the two plates, we have old oceanic crust. And the convergence of the two plates created successive subduction zone. What means subduction zone? Means that one plate is going below the other. So in such a subduction zone between the African and the Eurasian plate, above the subduction zone, we have also an opening. As you can see here, we have an opening in the ocean. So what we have when we have an opening, that means magma create the depths and is going upwards to fill the empty place that is created from the divergence of the plates. In this area, we have the creation of the new oceanic crust. All this set in a subduction zone and an opening above the subduction zone is called the supra-subduction zone for the geologists. So if we make a cross-section of the oceanic crust, years ago, this is the picture and the processes that took place. Here at the upper we have the partial melt material, the creation of magma, ascended and created the various of the what remains in the upper mantle gave us the upper mantle rocks. When solidified the big shakers gave us the tectonic rocks. It solidified the magma in the transportation fluids gave us dikes. And if the lava, if the magma reached the city, gave us the volcanic rocks of the Trollos of the oceanic crust. And also we have hydrothermal vents, the well-known black smokers, which are sulfide deposits of Cyprus, as well as the Andes. So if we, this setting it was took place for 10 million years approximately, until 75 million years, something happened. Was a collision of the plates. So that means no more oceanic crust was between the plates. But continental crust reached the subduction zone that caused the collision of the plates. This collision resulted in the creation of the Troodos microplate it's at the first beginning that it's agricultural exploitation, and it's as the trolls Viola was migrated completely, and was positive, the marine sediments like formation and formation, as well as erosion formation and the other marine sediments. Also, emerged approximately 15 million years ago. At the time, the water was trapped in the subduction has created second sedimentization of its peripheral level. What happened? It was static rise in conjunction with the weathering material of sea level graphic conversion that we see today. So in summary, 19 to 82 million years approximately, we have creation of city in a suprasubduction zone. Later, uh, for around 75 to 70 million years, we have the collision plates, creation wise rotation of Trodos microplate in its subsequent arc. Trodos, as we said, emerged above sea level 15 million years ago. At that time started the second serpentinization phase. That was the direct rising of its with in conjunction with the differential erosion. So all these complex geological processes have been to the ophiolite rocks, and it's very difficult uh, for the visitors to be understand. That is why we created several 2D and 3D animations, which I will show you later as well, to show to the people how the tropes that were created and what I saw in scientists. So if we have been around, let's say, 15 million years ago, the Neolithic Ocean, or what, let's say, that time the Neolithic was destroyed. And we have the first part of the Mediterranean. You will see how the cycle was created 50 million years bigger, and in 5 to 6 million years, the Pentadactylus began to emerge above sea level, and 1 million years to and finally we have the shape of Cyprus as we see today. Why is it important? Because we don't have a sort of oceanic crust in the other part of the earth. Yes, we have, of course, we have, but Cyprus, the trout is so unique. Okay, we have huge geological processes, but after these processes, it managed to keep its rock in order. So the geoscientists, when they come here, they can see all the stratigraphic column of organic crust that is created today in the depths of recent oceans. Why is so important? Because they don't need to go submarine boats to see what is happening in the depths of the ocean. They're coming to Cyprus and follow the rocks and see all the procedures that took place 92, 22 million years ago. So the trout is important because we can see all the chemical sediments, volcanic rocks with sulfate deposits, schistite complex, cumulate rocks, and magma rocks. Since 1950s, the trout is under detailed research by geoscientists and has played a significant role to the development of the divergent pattern and the formation of new channels. Every year, tens of foreign universities, mainly from Europe, are visiting the geopark for research, but also training of the students. The total geopark includes 50 geosites, 11 abandoned mines, and one archaeological site, show its evolutionary history and also its marine activity. Most of the geosites have high value from the scientific point of view. And that is why it was a challenge for us to how to explain these difficult geological processes to the visitors. Into the area of the geopark, they are included asbestos mine, chromite mines, copper mines with ancient slag heaps around the foothills. Also, extensive parallel landscapes, spreading axis valleys, and transform fossilized past. All of these constitute an important. And let me guide you and some of the important sites of the geopark. Here are sediments, the others in between we have buckets, which are rich radiolarians, that's why they call it radiolarians. These radiolarians are small microfossils that helping us to take these sediments. These are therapy, and is a typical locality of these sediments, and that's why we call them therapy formation. So here we have a pillow lava. You can see the pillow and high viscosity lava flow on the this sea floor. Here, Mitsero, also we have pillow lava that have been intruded by swarms of dikes in Kulena, Valhalla, we have one of the important geosites. Here, repeat intrusion of younger dikes in all the dikes, convincing evidence for the spreading of the ocean, spreading lava, spreading fire and created that. So it's important to settle the ocean. And also the next one is the point that here we see also in the Palepori, we have another geosite where you can see the red and white lines showing that the types of different positions. After the shell is not rich, we have a differential weathering of the rocks. The softer material moves away, and the harder material remains as we pass into the shell. That is why the Madari Ridge, we have this location, the shell, it's Madari. It's another small rock cut, very important because we've seen younger guys who this is an evidence that during the formation of the TOC, we have not only one peak to have much shaper, but multiple smaller much shaper to we have lodges of troglodytes, upper mandal rocks near the Ios Nicolaus stages. We have sulfur springs at Galvana. Rotate guides, epitome.
Μου τρεις όσο μιλάω
and also rotate the guides in the guides here are not vertical like Arcori. You can see there are almost horizontal due to the activity of detachment fold. Here with the Iris Dimitrios, younger dikes included plutonic globes, which later cut by a normal fold caused the TOC. Banded chromite in danites near the throat square. And finally, near the asbestos mine, the broader area of the asbestos mine, finds asbestos and picorite with spectacular view. Of course, important is also the mining heritage of the geopark. We have copper mines in the near the Coquinoya, the Coquinoya in these beautiful yellow and red colors. Agrochemia mine, and also Spuriotis mine, which is the oldest mine in Cyprus. Because here we have the biggest slag heap that we found in Cyprus. In Cyprus, we find more than 100 slag heaps of the Tropos mountain. The biggest one is Spuriotis. The Greek word for slag is Skuria. That's when we have the name of the there. So, for more than 3,000 years, Cyprus was one of the most important exploitation trades. All that it was charters that we found with the star heaps to give us dates following the carbon 14 method from 20 to 20 up to 500 AD. Also apart from the ancient also found remains of ancient galleries that we found such as ropes, shovels, baskets, but also in the shipwreck over in Cyprus, as well as in other archaeological sites around, say, like Cyprus. And also, we have around there. This is the Cachupabu from mine in the southern slopes.
Νομίζω κλείστε το φίλο μου κλείστο γιατί είναι πολλά. Αποσπάω στην προσοχή να μου τα ωραία σου λόγια.
Να δώσω λίγο volume στη φωνή σου. Μπορείτε να φωνάζετε.
So we have also chromite mines around the highest peak, the Olympus, at the and the northern slopes of the Orochos mine and the Kakres mine. And finally, we have the asbestos mine, which is the biggest asbestos mine. Now it's under rehabilitation and began the terracing and deforestation of the waste material of the mine. We restore mine buildings, such as the offices of the mine now host the sick bag of for endemic species of Cyprus flora. The Telegraph office hosts the botanical garden. and the old elementary school now is operating and hosts the Rhodos Geopark Visitor Center. So this is pictures took a year ago. You can see the visitor center, the botanical garden, and now we have an artificial lake in the middle of the hips and a nature trail around it for the visitors. So also in Rhodos, we have small waterfalls and sites of extraordinary beauty, such as the Milonelis California waterfalls, and Sapodamos waterfall, but also Venetian bridges like Jelefos Bridge, Rudias Bridge, and of course we have a lot, 10 Byzantine churches that are included in the UNESCO World Heritage Site for their historical and artistic finding. This is the Virgin of Titu, the Virgin of Sinum, the Holy Cross of Pelendri, the Virgin of Araka, the Duration of the Savior in Balehori, and at Yotis, near the springs that I told you, I showed you before, and the Venetian bridge that connected the village of Palmoriotis is connected the village with the Saint John of Lapadistis monastery. So, UNESCO monument. Rhodos also hosts a remarkable biodiversity. In the area, in Cyprus, we have 143 ethnic species, from which 92 are found in the area of the geopark, 37 of which are found only in the geopark area, nowhere else in the island on the planet. Also, Rhodos hosts a large number of rare and protected habitats, such like the unique black pine forest, the specific grasslands, the endemic cedar forests, the Rhodos grasslands, and the forest and Malari. Important also is the fauna of the geopark. We have 60 from the 30 species of mammals, as well as 13 of 22 species of reptiles. It's worth to mention here that we have in the mountains the Cyprus moth, one of the most important species of Cyprus. Also, we have 100 of 365 species of birds, as well as 107 species of insects. Of 9 species of other places of Cyprus exist in the Rhodos geopark. Our effort as a geopark is to use all these natural elements of the area to promote environmentally friendly actions like geoscience, nature trade points, and other. So, give opportunity to the people to increase their incomes through tourism. So I will finish my presentation through a small, say, words that Stephen Edwards used at his book for the Cyprus. He said, perhaps nowhere else on Earth has so small an area provides such an excellent illustration of the dynamics of Earth abundant exposures of spectacular diverse technology. Thank you very much. your attention. Please give me 5 minutes to show you a small video. Uh,
Let me guide you. The Trans UNESCO Global Geopark. This 2 million years ago, when the Atlantic Ocean began to open, we caused the tectonic plates. Temperature in the depths of the ancient Atlantic Ocean that existed between plates and subduction plates were developed. This was transported the ocean which led to the break of the waves that led enough to rise correlate distance. It is approximately 10 million years to create landmarks and depths ranging from 3,000 meters out to the sea floor. When the net is one piece of oceanic crust that managed to keep up, undisturbed, this ocean plates more ancient. First, the collision was 90 degrees centigrade rotation. Then, natural processes and subsequent uplifting continued for approximately 17 years as position up to 80%. Over the years of these money, many scientists from all over the world keep visiting in order to the depths of the northern oceans. We are trying to understand which geological processes, creation from upper mountain rocks, to depths of 6 meters and ultimately movement over the highest peak of the Olympic mountain. By accumulate rocks that were formed as magma chambers between the Earth's crust and upper mantle and ultimately surrounded moving mountains. While crystals, which surface rocks and are consistent nearly vertical lines, to the occasional lava sheets of the surface. Volcanic rocks ocean. Various minerals which contributed significantly to the marine and cultural heritage of Cyprus, such as asbestos, and copper, and others, like volcanic rocks. The Cyprus gave copper its Latin name, as evidenced by its scattered usage of slime and ancient towns. This is also attested to the many pigments that have been found either in ancient or in ancient cities around the Mediterranean. Minor rocks have been a development resource and have been used as building material to migration. They built stone-built structures structures of unique architecture and settlements. Monasteries and churches. Watermills and bridges, which inspire with much wisdom, patience, and care, are created with good structures in harmony with nature. When we identify my birth, we doubt the goddess of beauty or productivity. From east to west, and from north to south, my walks are home to natural landscapes. Waterfalls, steep slopes, beautiful mountain peaks, for which he spent endless time gazing at the horizon, following the greatness of natural world through its genius. And finally, through the unique lifetime experience, stepping on rocks that were rooted in the depths of the earth, not to meet the truest truth. It's no paradise in the very heart.
So the next presentation comes to us from Mrs. Antonia Theodosiou. She's an architect and environmental engineer, and her theme is Serolithies, the Dry Building Heritage, which we are going to see in the coming days. We're actually building one of these dry stone walls. Okay, so be prepared. No, we have gloves for you, we have hats for you, we have everything.
You have me to pull you around.
Antonia as well. Θέλεις να κάνεις ειδικό ο Πέτρος να μπορέσει να...
So until this is ready, from which countries do you come from?
Everywhere. The whole world.
Cyprus?
France, Greece, Spain, China,
Έχει ακόμα, απλά θα πρέπει να κάποια στιγμή να βάλουμε...
But you come from?
Israel,
To check if I have photographs of your country. And to check it tomorrow.
Και πρίζα. Λοιπόν,
I've been given 45 minutes, so I would love if you interrupt me, so that it's going to be a bit livelier. And if my time runs out, please interrupt me and I stop. Okay? Yes. I will, normally I speak quick, but in case there are questions and answers and there is a dialogue, maybe it takes longer. And you can interrupt me. You can hear me, I don't need a microphone, isn't it? Can you hear me at the back?
Yeah, I can put also. So,
how do I, like this? So the dry stone refers to structures built with stone without any binding mortar, not even soil. And these, they could be classified for the sake of the current presentation into major categories. The one category refers to historic built heritage, which is also built without mortar, such as the Parthenon of the Acropolis, and such as this silo, which is a rural, the other category, in Morocco. I'll name you some examples of the historic built heritage. underlining that the conservation of nature, the management of natural resources, and the development of the anthropogenic landscape, it's called man-made landscape, but nowadays we call it anthropogenic for obvious reasons, with dry stone constructions rooting antiquity. Most prominent examples of dry stone constructions are fortifications, megalithic structures, ancient boundaries, retaining and defensive walls, road and water management networks. Here are some examples. This is, excuse me, some from Turkey, from Sardinia, the Nuragic, from the Nuragic Park in Sardinia, the megalithic monument in Turkey, and the temple in Sardinia, in the Valley of Temples, in Agrigento, in from Sardinia. So, and here we have this monastic settlement, which was a refuge on the island of Michael's Rock from early Christianity. All the buildings are in dry stone, and it is under the protection of UNESCO. We have the Machu Picchu, everybody knows it, which is an archaeological site built mainly in dry stone. And the picture below is from Cyprus is the Mapa Leokastro fortification wall in Paphos, which was not originally in dry stone. It was supplemented with mud bricks, but they were worn out, so they have the Cyclopean fortified walls of the city of Kephallonia in Greece. And we have two pictures here. On the right is the monastery in Cyprus, and the other one on the left is the only example we have of a Byzantine house in the occupied part of Cyprus in Rizokapos. So, but today we are going to refer to the rural dry stone constructions. So in conjunction with the historic monuments, the technique has been greatly used for the agricultural development, whereas their construction increased considerably in the 17th and 18th century. We refer worldwide to this date. Dry stone structures appear to be fundamental elements in the development of rural societies due to their role in accumulating and sustaining the soil in arid rocky areas and prevent erosion. Furthermore, they provide effective ways to demarcate property boundaries or create shelters for humans and animals. It is stated in every picture where it is from. Most of the pictures are from Cyprus, just to get for you to get to know the island. So these dry stone constructions, they are shaped according to the type of stone, the terrain, the altimetry of the landscape, the climatic conditions, and the kind of crops. The rural dry stone technique evolved over time into a masterful landscape craftsmanship, which the farmers sustained with care until at least the mid of the 20th century. These constitute the simplest, most sustainable, low maintenance, and long-lasting technique. Despite the fact, though, that no special technical equipment is needed, it concerns a sophisticated construction, requires skills, which we are going to find out tomorrow, traditional expertise, and knowledge. These are pictures of islands in Croatia, which are also protected by UNESCO. The art of dry stone technique is usually part of the wider study of folk architecture, while emphasis is given to its role in landscape conservation and biodiversity enhancement. These are pictures from Cyprus. The related research has also been infusing with particular interest on the construction of dry stone in maintaining an alternative way of social and rural organization. Since dry-stone construction is rooted in traditions and practices related to the organization of the rural environment, this is also from Croatia, and adapts to the particular character of each area and purpose of the construction. As a characteristic component of the rural cultural landscape, dry-stone is important in safeguarding regional identity and organization and maintenance of landscapes and identities. The know-how of the technique. We can shut it down. I don't need it. I think I don't need it. You should tell me first. Do you need me to speak on the know-how of the technique was transmitted orally from one generation to the other. The dissemination of the knowledge regards the sustainable use of the rural environment took place during agricultural works where most of the members of the society participated. This way, the process of learning the technique was bound with a sense of belonging. Today, the transmission of the know-how is conducted by individual practitioners as well as by organized entities. I can't see here the number of the slides, so here. So I'm okay. So, dry-stone constructions define the rural landscape, and they are a result of a reciprocal dialogue between humans and the environment. They have become an integral part of the natural landscape. The traditional craftsmen cleared the stones off the fields, which were then exploited to construct dry-stone structures. They saved labor and resources by incorporating in the same walls shelters for farmers and recesses for the storage of tools, food, and keeping animals. These are some pictures from Italy, truly, from Spain, from Morocco, and from Menorca, of course, Spain. Dry constructions form retaining walls, accumulate soil, turn the arid land into arable supported veggie terraces. This is a water irrigation system in Peru. Prevent landslides, such as set property and pathway boundary walls, secure the protection of crops, farmers, and animals against weather conditions, facilitate rainwater absorption while paving courtyards, squares, and threshing floors, built enclosures, this is geological afterwards, built enclosures, shelters, and huts for animals and farmers, organize the water distribution and shape water diversion, walls, channels, and galleries, teachers, well systems for irrigation and water supply, build kilns for lime, gypsum, tar, and charcoal production, secure beehives. We are going to see some such constructions later, cheese products, and store agricultural products. Dry stone structures are also connected to the maintenance and enhancement of biodiversity and combat the desertification procedure. About the inscription in the UNESCO list, you know this already from Thekla.
She didn't talk extensively about it.
Just mentioned.
Okay, there is an international association for the multidisciplinary study of dry stone, to which I belong, and 8 countries from this association initially, and applied first to 8 national committees of relevant expertise, and the art of the dry stone technique was first acknowledged by these 8 countries. And later on, a multinational file was submitted, and the technique was acknowledged by the UNESCO, let's say international, in 2018. Currently, 4 more countries have requested an extension. If you don't know the countries, I can name them. No, it's H, the first one. France, Switzerland, Spain, Italy, Croatia, and Slovenia, and Cyprus and Greece. And then this year, the Principality of Andorra has applied, Austria, Belgium, and Luxembourg. The geological diversity, which we are now very well aware of by the Geological Department, constitutes a key factor in the development of the natural environment and plays an important role in the cultural, social, and economic development of regions. The variety also of stone types offers the raw material for the construction of primary structures. The traditional anthropogenic shaping of the landscape showcases diverse elements relevant to the diversity and alternation of the geographical features of each region. Reef rocks, marine sediments, limestone formations, mud, sandy aggregates, calcareous sandstone, bioclastic limestone, chert and flint, chalk, pilolavas, volcanic rocks, multiple dike systems, dunite, hasbukite, and capro appear in dry stones. This is why it is important that each time that we restore dry stone constructions or build new, that we take stones from the same area, not the same region, the same area. Dry stone constructions are linked with water management and play a major role in safeguarding the protection of this valuable resource. This technique has been extensively used for water abstraction, challenging and distribution for cultivations, water mills, wells, subterranean tunnels, systems, pasture land, and in houses. The use of dry stone structures and the knowledge of nature and its behavior led to elaborated functional constructions which ensured the sustainable management of water in times of semi-drought or drought. In Israel, in the desert, they use the dry stone to collect water and collect also humidity for vineyards in the desert. Dry stone retaining walls support the banks of streams and rivers and create terraces which collect the water and preserve humidity for cultivations. Terraces slow also down the water flow and prevent soil erosion. Stone paved floors and pathways, these are cisterns from the occupied Cyprus, wells, cisterns and wells. These are from Agamas. I don't think. No. Stone paved floors and pathways, squares, courtyards, and fresh allow water to infiltrate into the subsoil in a controlled manner, keeping at the same time the surface dry for use. This dry stone built fabric for the organization of the landscape has shaped the wide system in order to create and administer arable land out of lowland plains or precipitous and rocky hills. The walls resulted in the accumulation of soil and the creation of terraces for cultivation, and they retained rainwater for irrigation, preserved humidity for vegetation, and stored seeds for rejuvenation. These are flying steps in the left one from Cyprus, in the right one, you see that the technique is the same from Peru. In the context of the European program CARE, run by the Cyprus Institute, which was about preventing and restoring soil degradation in Europe, for soil care, the Cyprus Institute examine the degree of soil erosion in cultivated areas after rainfall in two adjacent areas which preserve, the one with preserved dry stone retaining walls and the other one with semi-ruined structures. And the study resulted that soil erosion in the semi-damaged area was comparatively 4 times greater. You see here more terraces. The fragile balance between the flora and fauna of the planet millions of years. Nowadays, thousands of species extinct every year. Human interventions are the main causes, such as the destruction of the species ecosystem, the introduction of new species in their territories, and the large-scale exploitation of natural resources. According to scientists, it is due to such actions that the rate of extinction is between 1,000 and 10,000 times higher than the natural rate. The global phenomenon of desertification, caused mainly by human activities, threatens particularly the southern Mediterranean, as it is exacerbated, sorry for my English, yes, by global warming and extreme weather conditions. Desertification leads to soil erosion and degradation. Sorry, no, it's not my second language, the English language. Dry stone constructions provide adequate protection, space, and conditions for the development of ecosystems. Species of fauna and flora seek for shelter, protection, favorable atmospheric conditions, and nourishment in the gaps between the stones. A case study was carried out in 2014 in which I participated, but not in Cyprus, with the topic Dry Stone Constructions Biodiversity Supports. The research was executed in collaboration with the University of Athens and Michigan in the States, and it concerned 3 Cycladic islands of the Aegean. The study focused on Naxos and Milos islands, which host extended networks of dry stone walls while differing location, paleogeography, and geological background. Geology is very important for biodiversity, is the source. The research resulted that dry stone walls do support biodiversity due to their architectonic, geometrical, structural features. The dry walls perform certain circumstances, e.g. temperature, soil moisture, which are associated with elevated biodiversity. Not only the dry walls themselves, but also near the dry walls, the biodiversity was higher than more remote areas than 2 meters away. The natural rocky formations, in combination with dry stone layering, since antique times, the early decades of the 20th century, shaped the roots within and between the settlements and within the cultivated areas, with roads, pathways, access ramps, bridges. They shaped also houses and church courtyards and village squares. The particular and distinct nature of the dry stone construction regarding the coupling of surface reflects each time the stone type available, the construction technique, the topography of the site, and the local climatic condition, as well as especially the use of structure to be paved. These are threshing floors from Cyprus with different types. Threshing floors were used for separating the grain from the husk and the straw. They had a circular shape with an average diameter size of 10 to 15 meters and were enclosed by rectangular stone slabs of low-drying stone walls. You know how the threshing floors function. I don't need to explain. No? Yes? No? Yes? To gain time. Dry stone roof shelters. For example, one is the roof of a shelter, the top. And the enclosures situated in house courtyards or in the fields were used for farmers and husbandry, most times in conjunction with corals. Moreover, when they were located far from the settlements, they were also used for seasonal stay for the farmers when they had to spend a long time away from their home and their farming activities. The construction typology of kilns varies according to the operation they serve. More widespread were the ones used for the production of gypsum, lime, charcoal, or tar. These were located in areas where the relevant raw material was extracted. Kilns for the production of tar and charcoal were constructed in areas with substantial timber resources, such as mountainous regions, whereas the ones for the production of lime and gypsum were located in semi-mountainous areas or in plains. As it seems peculiar, we have beehives in dry stone. They were constructed with dry stone and they are found in various Mediterranean regions. Golden beehives have been documented either embedded in terrace walls or integrated in walls of dry stone buildings. In other cases, freestanding beehives and bee houses were found. Such bee houses were a series of square and wall recesses constructed in freestanding round walls. These recesses would close with monolithic flat slabs. This is a round wall on the top in French, around beehives, which are also constructed in dry stone. Reflecting on the current trends, on the one side is an artwork in dry stone. On your left side is a photograph from Cyprus, dated back in 1946, of a girl laying in front of the dry stone. So the photograph had pleasures to photograph the dry stone at the same time. These are some artistic works in dry stone by contemporary sculptors. So, reflecting on the current reality, a number of conferences and workshops regards the dry stone technique have been organized in various countries. The technique has already been used in the restoration of degraded areas and in the preservation of stone paved paths, terraces, and shelters. Such projects have been praised by the Council of Europe in the framework of the Landscape Convention, and others are funded by the European Commission. Here I show you a graph of the International Association of the Multidisciplinary Study of Dry Stone. It is based in France. It is an international association which was founded in 1987, and every 2 years there is an international congress in a different country referring to dry stone with a different talk. This year, at the end of September, beginning of October, is going to be put in France. This is from workshops in Cyprus in the framework of projects, or also run by volunteers. This one was run by volunteers in a Natura 2000 site and concerns threshing. This is an activity we have undertaken with SPS, with the Menorcan colleagues, trying to safeguard a limestone landscape in Menorca, which was endangered by, in inverted commas, ecological action to set up photovoltaic park and not for Menorca but for Spain. And it was about to build this dry stone landscape, and with the action of SPS in collaboration with the Spanish colleagues, we managed that the major part of this landscape, say, photovoltaic park was established. Here are some pictures of projects and workshops and progresses. That the restoration was done in Menorca or Baraka. And down below is a photograph of a European project that has taken place in the Italian Alps. The municipalities in the region, they decided to give away, let's say, terraces for cultivation to people that didn't have any land, under the condition that they restore the dry stone. But the people that signed the contract with the municipality, they don't own the land. They just use it for the cultivation. Various congresses were organized in Italy. There is another international association which is called ITLA, and this is for terraces, not only for dry stone. This is also from Italy, a recent congress, which was devoted to the sensibilization on dry stone. And they have founded, during the same period, a school for dry stone wallers. In 2019, the UNESCO in Ramallah invited two experts from SPS, and we visited Palestine. It was a very delicate issue with Israel, but we did this. We conducted workshops. I was one of the expertise that we have there. In the Valley of Batir, which is a UNESCO site. And with photographs that I was sent after in 2021, it has shown that there was an impact on the people. The craftsmen, they continued and they restored their landscape or they built new. And we gave them a manual in English, which they translated in Arabic. This is a voluntary NGO in Croatia, which is very active in dry stone. They, most of the time, we do voluntary work. And we collaborate with the framework of projects, and we organize a lot of international workshops. These are some initiatives from Greece. There was a major project in Greece Life Terrascape, run by the University of the Aegean, and it was a good initiative because after this, a number of NGOs was created and is conducting workshops. In 2004 is a bit of forth. We participated in the first program regarding dry stone, Le Carrefour de la Pièce. Cyprus was also part of it, along with Greece, Spain, and France. In Mallorca, there is a school of dry stone wall, the oldest school in the world on dry stone wall, where the people receive certificates of dry stone wallers, and they really have very high prospects of getting higher for the landscape. Anyway, they are fully engaged also in Mallorca, because part of Mallorca is national forest, and it's full of dry stone. So they do their practice there, and they are hired after finishing the school. In Cyprus, the town planning department, the sector of conservation, published in Greek a guide on the conservation or construction of dry stone retaining walls. A lot of events is organized in collaboration with the Antiquities Department and the Cyprus for various reasons, and the mobile exhibition has been organized by the Antiquities Department, which can be lent and also to other places. This was took place in Romodas for the vineyards of Limassol. In 2015, it was this reCARE program of which I spoke about the erosion of the land. If compared dry stone landscape to non-wood dry stone landscape. In 2019, there was an international conference in Cyprus for geoparks, and a colleague of mine presented the imprint of dry stone or of the geology of the dry stone. In a museum in Agamas, which is a Natura 2000 site, there is a special section of dry stone, and also a route has been organized in the area where a shelter has been restored, the dry stone shelter. Coming to the Limassol area, the Laona Foundation and the initiative of planting 300,000 trees in Limassol, they took the initiative and restored dry stone walls in a village in Larnaca, and also planted trees at the same time. These are some other initiatives where a system has been restored, and along with the restoration of the system and the ditches, dry stone walls have been restored. This is a part of the asbestos mine that was shown before, where we have executed a pilot program. It is in the area of the Environment Center, the Botanical Garden, where we have restored or constructed dry stone walls. And this project has been awarded by the Council of Europe. The same goes here. It's called the forest of hazelnuts in Polystipos. It is a Natura 2000 site. There are restoration of dry stone walls as well as the construction took place, and it was also awarded by the Council of Europe. So recently, a project has it's called the Prodrodos project, which was co-financed by the European Regional Development Fund and the Republic of Cyprus through the Research and Innovation Foundation. And in the framework of this program, information and education events and workshops for practical training on the dry stone building technique were held. These were carried out for 122 communities, one municipality, and 236 people participated. The project was not only on dry stone. Dry stone was a small part of the project, resulted to a manual which is in Greek, and it is also free online. On the construction or restoration of retaining walls of the mountain terraces in Cyprus. It is very important to combat the desertification process in the mountains, in the regions where the cultivations are abandoned. This is why we thought it is very useful to publish this map. Here you see it's full of photographs, but it's also full of drawings. And I present to you here the drawings because you've seen enough photographs. So I don't want to be pessimistic, but this is the road in the mountains of Cyprus, which is approximately 100 years old. It's been some years already that the road is collapsing, but they don't restore it. The result would be to build a concrete. Thank you for your attention. No questions, it means that it was not interesting.
It was very well explained.
I will check on you tomorrow to the workshop.
Tomorrow we'll do question. Although, because we still have time.
Yes, we have 10
Mr.
minutes.
Dr. Tsolakis is here, Antonia is still here. Do you have any questions, something that you want to be clarified maybe before we go outside? Because before our lunch, which was supposed to be around 12:30, we will have a group photo outside on the front of the terrace, the front terrace. Our photographer asked us to do that. But before going out, do you have any questions? Yes, Maria.
I have a question specifically for the last image the one that goes this wall, which is like the ruins, and I'm going to the Cyclades during the last years and the experience also the same situation. Going to the Cyclades.
Okay.
The same situation. I mean, everything there is on the one hand all these wonderful initiatives, workshops, and a lot of technical knowledge about the dry stone. On the other hand, I feel that there is no any effective protection. So, how do you see it in Cyprus? I mean, what is going to happen with this wall? And beyond wall, how is the how can I say the law framework? Is there any? I mean, this protection can really be effective, or
Well, since the country's 8+4, they succeed to get involved in the safeguarding of the technique of the UNESCO framework. They need to inform the UNESCO of what it has been done in the year that has passed. So UNESCO doesn't take the initiative to do this. It's the other departments that need to take this initiative. So it's very important that there is public awareness, that there are the NGOs on the one hand side, but most important is that the governmental departments adopt, realize and adopt the dry stone technique, which is not an artistic thing. It is as well. It is not something that is a luxury. It is something that is very essential for our landscape for most reasons that I presented. In Cyprus, I can talk about other countries because I know what is going on in other countries, but I'm going to talk about Cyprus. Department, the sector of preservation, they published this guidebook, and when a person applies to get dry stone structure within their property on a list, then they get funding for preserving. If they don't apply, the town planning department has done nothing, and it is a pity because the us from the private sector, we started elaborating and collaborating with the town planning department mainly, and not with the archaeological department. These projects that are run by institutes and universities, they incorporate in the project the agricultural sector within the government. We have succeeded, I think. There are funding for the, if you are a farmer, you have rice in your field or you want to construct rice within European funding, not national funding, you have incentives. I And this is done for 15 years now. But we have proven to them that most of the dry stone walls that we are constructing are wrong. They collapse. So we conducted workshops together with the agricultural department. They have received now the printed form of the guidebook, and now they're going around checking, but most important is to educate the governmentals themselves. Okay, and we are working in this direction.
Ines, just a question about this. Do you have a kind of observatory showing this now and in a dynamic way the evolution of the landscapes in Cyprus?
Well, in other countries, they have mapped their dry. Okay, we haven't mapped. Okay, and this is an initiative I think I'm going to take next year because it's very important to have a follow-up. Or at least
And Regina, on this note, University, they have a research center, Heraclitus, which the center can help a lot with the mapping. I'm sure Metro and Donny, I'm sure that Heraclitus can help with the mapping.
Yes, I'm working on that with the artists.
It's a very working together with them. Yes, yeah.
It was my thing to set up through Eratosthenes, a school of dry in Cyprus. I forgot to mention.
Yes, I have another question because I worked in France on rice many years ago in the inscription. And actually, what it was interesting was that on one side there was the work done on the technique and on the transmission of it. But on the other side, there was work that was done with the policymakers, artists, a lot of techniques that to restore and to also do the new walls. So it's difficult, in my opinion, to have a legal framework that protects these constructions. We cannot protect everything, but what is important, I think, is to educate people and especially policymakers to protect these constructions. So I wanted to know if you do this work also people that take decisions about how you restore the village, how you restore because it was much also of new work, new roads.
We found out during is that people are very well aware, very aware of the importance of dry stone. We say public awareness. You don't need the public awareness. People outside the fields, they know the importance of dry stone. So we decided to work with the municipalities in the recent project. This is why we educated 122 municipalities. Well, the size of Cyprus it was a big effort. It was a big effort. And to our pleasure, they were also very keen in collaborating with us. And all their problems are with the governmental departments that they don't give enough funding. The funding they give, the incentives they give for the dry stone are really very low. Because they don't have the sense, they don't have the feeling, they don't know the difficulty of constructing a stable retaining wall. If we speak about retaining walls, which is the most important, because we are not going to build a threshing floor today, but you could take as an example the water management system with Laguna. The wells and the channels, which is a very wise system instead of desalination plants. So now the pressure is done on by the municipalities, by the local authorities, not the municipalities itself, they are in the cities. The local authorities, the community local authorities are in the rural areas.
You wanted to ask something?
Yes. I'm design on the protection side, especially on this legal framework. As far as I understood, there are several representations of drystone construction, different types of construction, and they are in general useful for something. They're functional in the daily life of these communities.
They used to be.
They use much more. That's my question. Are
You have kilns. We don't use kilns anymore. You have shelters. The animals, they don't go in shelters. You have threshing floors. We don't use threshing floors. This is why I spoke about water systems and the reservoirs as well as the power reservoirs.
the question would be more or less if these communities they need to remake it for some reason to rebuild one of these walls and they are legally protected. How does it work to
All drystone structures in Cyprus can come under the preservation law. Housing. And there are two ways of listing them. A list, because once you come to the list, you need to preserve it and you need to maintain it. And you get incentives for it. In Cyprus, the incentives of restoring either a dry stone structure or a house are very high. In comparison to the list of the European Union. The incentives we have for listed traditional structures are very high. They are minimum 50% of the cost, minimum. We have cases where they are 100%. The grants we receive. But to list the dry stone structures, you can either take the initiative on your own as an owner, or the urban planning department can come and list the regions. And this is the push we need to make in Cyprus, to list regions. Because the private owners, they go and list their property, their dry stone wall within their property, once they have a house in it, and they want to restore the boundaries. The farmers, they don't go to list their property.
I thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. I learned a lot. It reminded me of some of the early work that I was involved in. The earliest dry-stone structures that you get in Australia are Aboriginal fish traps.
Yes.
Then the whole 19th century, early 20th century, especially 19th century, dry stone walls that were constructed by farmers and very difficult to protect. And problems are to protect. The question that I have is that in the state of Victoria, there is a whole policy based on dry stone architecture. So the biggest challenge is rural migration.
Is
Rural urban migration. The population of the countryside, to maintain. It's just that the young people are not there anymore. It's sad, and I know this is a very small country compared to Australia, but is there here that kind of urban migration structures?
well, as a scientist, I can say that the urbanization of the country sometimes might have been proven very helpful for preserving the landscape. Because in areas, it's always a dilemma. There are areas where people stayed in the areas and they drive themselves, or the landscape themselves, because they built inadequate contemporary structures. But what we are missing in the rural areas is the absence of farmers. And it has to do with urbanization, but it has also to do with the abandonment of farming. So the European Union, at least, has huge programs about keeping the landscape in rural areas where they are cultivated or not. They give incentives and they have the owners of the areas as gardeners of nature. Since you don't have farming activity anymore, you need to do something else to preserve the landscape. Combat the desertification process, because once you lose the upper soil, nothing grows anymore. So this is one way of looking at the suburban areas, at the rural areas, in presenting the landscapes to other philosophy. But I showed you a very good project which is expanding in Italy, is now expanding also in the Alps in Switzerland, where the municipalities with low population or old population, they give to immigrants or to NGOs pieces of land with terraces and dry stone to cultivate them and have an income or have food to eat, where the native people have left, so nobody uses the land. And they sign a contract. It's a very clever idea that the Italians have. And but they sign a contract. They don't own the land, but they own the use of the land, and they need to preserve the terraces, including the grass. So you do it at no cost. So such ideas, we have to be very creative to come up with more.
Any more?
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
My other hat is from India. I recently observed in the last 12 years a dry stone village office. Games. But also in my own lifetime, because I started in the 70s working on building structure, said people did not touch in all of the neglected structures to where dry stone, techniques were used, because they were associated with evidence. That belief system changed with urbanization, so classes of surveillance disappeared in India. So that change in the spiritual significance what led to the rise of the whole mechanism. Is there any spiritual significance associated with Christ environment?
There are various countries regarding dry stone structures as well. I haven't faced the death as an obstacle to store. In Cyprus, we have tombs which are dry stone, but of course they are preserved by the archaeological department. Nobody has a problem in going in, even in Christian tombs. But I haven't faced this fact that people don't want to go and preserve. This is what I mean, that they don't go to preserve megalithic structures. Megalithic structures, we have a lot there are a lot in Greece. But actually, the studies regarding those structures, they were used for, not very frequent. But I don't think it was meant for the death. It's just a big question in Greece, treat them and why, and how. These are the megalithic out of the rural landscape, not the antique. The antique have a lot.
If you have more questions.
On Wednesday,
On Wednesday, sorry, on Wednesday, if you have more questions, there, answer some questions on the spot. So if you don't have any other questions, I would suggest to go out and take a photo, a step of the brief of the right.